A lot of people just don't know how to work on themselves. They don't know how to just shed this shit that's not serving them. They just keep going day to day with all this shit clogging up their system. We need to learn how to process those emotions and let them pass through us so that we can get on with our life. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, work on yourself, work on your mindset. Like, what is that even really? How do you even do that? So I just wanted to explain to anybody who is confused, like, what that actually means. That's just a shortcut of saying personal development. So personal development is developing yourself. It's basically just closing the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Upgrading yourself, glow up. That requires a couple of things. Number one, it requires you to acknowledge where you are and maybe some circumstances or situations that you are not happy with, identifying something in your life that you want to change. And it also requires you to identify the solution or what you actually want. I've always wanted to learn a language, or I've always wanted to have a certain amount of money in the bank. I've always wanted to open my own business or start a career in a particular field or to attract my ideal relationship. And it requires you to become self-aware of your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, feelings, and your experiences. Or are there things that from your childhood or baggage from past relationships or past times in your life that you have not actually processed at all? Because there's a lot of unprocessed emotions just clogging us up. So when someone says work on yourself, they basically just mean doing things that will help you work through that baggage. Maybe this could be journaling or recording voice memos, starting a YouTube channel like I did, talking about shit that you feel like talking about with other people who also relate to you. It could be channeling those emotions through a creative medium and finding someone to talk to. So like a therapist or family members or friends or a professional colleague. Every time you feel a negative emotion or you experience anger or fear, acknowledging that those painful emotions contain information about who you really are. Anger, what do you really hate? What really gets under your skin? What can that tell you about what your values actually are? Another component of personal development is acknowledging what it is that you don't know. Instead of just being mad for no reason, let's transmute that. So let's look at, this person pisses me off. Why does that person piss you off? Okay, they have something that I don't have. How can I learn that skill? How can I learn to be the kind of person that they are so that I don't have to sit here and be jealous, looking at these situations and taking the lessons out of them rather than just having all these emotions and not really knowing what to do with them. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, work on yourself. Like, what is that even really? How do you even do that? If you're in that boat, one of the first things you can start doing is keeping a journal. There is a lot of studies that show that journaling can significantly reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Me personally, I've been working on myself for like 3 years now, but I have a ton of exercises that I've come up with on my own that help me. If I feel like I'm going through some shit, I feel something, some restless energy underneath the surface, or I catch myself mindlessly scrolling on social media too much, then I'll take a step back and be like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, what is it that I'm running from, or what is it that I'm not processing? How can I start to be more mindful of these things under the surface? Then I'll start to journal. I'll start to just do morning pages that came from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, where you basically just brain dump first thing in the morning, everything that's on your mind. I also keep a planner just to alleviate mind clutter. I like to record voice memos. I honestly probably will never listen back to them, but for some reason it just helps me, because if I don't have a one-on-one person to talk to about my problem, I will just talk to myself. Sometimes there's just no one to talk to, or sometimes you don't feel like talking to people about it because you don't want advice. You start keeping a journal, that at the very least you're going to start to be more self-aware of the stories that are playing out in your head and have manifested in your life unconsciously, because a lot of our suffering is self-induced, and you may not have the answers right away, but it's a good way to get started. So those are my tips: journaling, talking to someone, making voice memos. And those are 3 things that you can start doing to work on yourself, to start becoming aware of the stories that are playing out in your life, in your reality behind the scenes, investigating yourself as an individual, who you are and what you really want, and identifying the life that you actually want to live and setting yourself on that trajectory. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful.